This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. We've hit another historical milestone in the auto industry. In the fourth quarter of last year, pure electric vehicles outsold gasoline-powered cars in Europe for the first time ever. Automakers sold about 309,000 EVs across the continent, compared to about 254,000 gas cars. And we think that from here on out, that gap will only grow. For the year, automakers sold 13.2 million new vehicles in Europe, up 2.4%, and several Chinese automakers made significant gains. SAIC was up 25%. It sold more than 305,000 vehicles, which was more than Nissan and Tesla, and BYD sold 187,000 vehicles, up 268%, which was more than Suzuki, Mazda, Honda, and Mitsubishi. And one other tidbit from the sales numbers. Cupra now outsells SAIC. What was once a sports-oriented trim level is now outselling its parent company. General Motors posted its financial earnings for last year, and the numbers look dismal thanks to a massive write-off of its EV operations and the impact of President Trump's tariffs. Let's look at the numbers. GM sold 6.1 million vehicles last year, up 3%. But despite selling more vehicles, its revenue dropped almost 2.5% to $185 billion. Its operating profit dropped 77% to just under $3 billion, and its net profit fell 53% to only $2.8 billion. And yet, GM stock was up nearly 4% in pre-market trading this morning. That's because GM raised its 2026 guidance for its EPS, or earnings per share, and it also raised its dividend by 20% and announced a $6 billion share buyback program. GM investors saw a 54% return last year, and they clearly believe the good times will keep rolling. President Trump is raising tariffs on South Korean imports, including automobiles, from 15% to 25%. Last July, the U.S. and South Korea reached an agreement to lower tariffs to the 15% rate, and South Korea also agreed to $350 billion in U.S. investments. But Korea's parliament still hasn't approved the deal, so Trump is threatening the new tariffs to try and get it finalized. South Korea says it's sending diplomats to Washington, D.C. to discuss implementing the original agreement. Auto supplier American Axle changed its name. The Detroit-based supplier is now the Dauch Corporation, named after its founding family. The company will begin trading on the New York Stock Exchange next week with the new ticker symbol DCH. The change coincides with Dauch's acquisition of British-based automotive metallurgy company, the Dowlais Group. Once the deal is complete, which is expected to close in the coming days, will create a company with $12 billion in annual revenue and 50,000 employees globally, making it one of the largest auto suppliers in the world.
At CSP, we work with OEM engineers across the country on their journeys to lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly vehicles. Learn more at thecsp.com.
Vehicles with range extenders have been one of the fastest growing segments in China, and now they're making their way to commercial vehicles. Yuchai, which is a joint venture with Rolls-Royce Power Systems, is launching what it calls a flywheel range extender system that can be paired with a wide range of power sources, including ICE and diesel. It claims it's different from traditional setups because the engine and power generation components are structurally unified, which requires less parts and helps simplify the system. The flywheel range extender can generate anywhere from 15 to 600 kilowatts and is being deployed in commercial vehicles and non-road equipment from companies like FAW, Dongfeng, and Caterpillar. With municipalities rolling back or removing restrictions on pickup trucks, sales are starting to increase in China. Automakers sold just under 590,000 pickups in the country last year, a 5-year high, and an increase of nearly 12% compared to 2024. And with volume increasing, more players are getting into the game. Rely, which is a brand under Chinese automaker Chery, is launching its first all-electric truck, a model called the R08, which is about the size of a Toyota Hilux. It looks like a fairly basic body-on-frame setup with either a single 200 horsepower motor driving the rear wheels or an all-wheel drive setup with 400 horsepower. There's two battery sizes available, 66.5 or 88 kilowatt hours, which provides up to 510 kilometers or about 315 miles of range. Depending on the setup, pricing ranges from roughly $18,000 to $23,000. Germany's auto industry is struggling. The country produced just over 4 million vehicles last year, which is 1.5 million fewer cars than it built a decade ago. Since 2019, the German auto industry has laid off 250,000 workers, and the industry is planning to cut another 100,000 jobs by the end of the decade. IG Metall, the largest labor union in Germany, is warning that it will increase pressure on automakers if they continue pushing cost cuts and moving production out of the country. But because of those losses, IG Metall is now facing pressure from a fast-growing right-wing union in Germany called Zentrum. Workers at several automakers will vote on new labor representation this spring, and Zentrum is expected to make strong gains. And we've got some good intel on Ford's UEV, the Universal EV Platform, known as CE1. Auto Forecast Solutions reports that the first model built on that platform, with the code name P833, will be called the Maverick EV. It will start rolling down the line at Ford's Louisville, Kentucky plant in June of 2027. Then in August of 2028, the next model with the code name U833 will roll down the line and is scheduled to stay into production until 2035. It will be called the Escape. And Ford has indicated that several other models will be built off the CE1 platform in Louisville, which we think is a smart strategy. That plant is tooled to make 200,000 EVs a year, and by building multiple models off the same platform, Ford could more easily sell out that plant and make those cars at a profit. That's a wrap for today's show. Thanks for tuning in.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Alex Partners, when it really matters. CSP, the Composites Solution Partner. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And thanks to the following YouTube and Patreon members.
We help businesses respond decisively to their most critical challenges, from urgent performance improvement to enterprise-wide transformation. We work across the full value chain, in automotive and in industrials, helping clients navigate disruption, drive innovation, and unlock sustainable growth. Alex Partners, when it really matters.
Developing today's vehicles, issues can happen in an instant. What good is knowing your problems without the data to solve them? Meet Wireless Neovi Cloud, your secure off-the-shelf solution, empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With Wireless Neovi Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless Neovi Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.